What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Andy. Oh, you guys are moving around already. We got Al, Albert, Amy, Andy, Ben, Bill, Brad. Good morning to Brian, Dreg, and Joe, Keith, Lauren, Lucian in the house. Good morning to Marius, Martina, Ray, Rick, Russ. We got Tim. Good morning to all my people out in YouTube land. Good morning to Daniel. Good morning to all my lurkers. Not about to say nothing all day. Just gonna sit there quietly in the background. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Sabine, good morning to you. But phew, got the long-awaited NVDA earnings. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. SPY though, this morning after a just a wild session after hours. We're gonna open up a little bit higher. We're looking pretty good for right now. And let's go into some smaller details as well. We'll go to small time frames. But right now we are gapping up almost to all-time highs. And this would be a retest gap inside day. So at least from open hours today, or from when the market opens in 27 minutes. Looking at this chart, 646.37 would be your bounce spot. My question is, did we already retest that? We got to 646.10. We did get a pullback into 645.62. So we've been making these kind of higher highs and or higher lows. We got a little bit of a double top on SPY that we have to probably worry about. See if we get above 647.39, something like that. This is all from yesterday. It's not after hours, but uh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. After actually, let me see the previous screen. Hold on a second. Yeah, I got 646.26. So what do we need? We got 646.30. So we've already pulled back to this, just not during live hours. We've already made it back. We use that as some pre-market support, and we're starting to bounce. So we'll see what happens. Again, I would love in a live market to see this thing come back, retest the 646.30. I don't know that pre-market might have held on. We got the Qs. GDP did come out, so we had a little bit of a pop from it. But there's other news out there that really causing the pop, and we'll get to that shortly. We got the Qs also, not at all-time highs, but definitely above yesterday's VPOC, still hanging out. Again, NVIDIA, which is a big part of Qs, that has didn't cause the Qs to drop at all. And then we got some kind of level 573.84. That's going to come off of August 8th, and we're slightly above that. Next resistance, again, micro time frame. This is going back a little bit. 575.05, and then next target is 576.49. So let's see if open hours we get that pullback. Otherwise, maybe it's a scramble just to buy some shares and just keep pushing. Bitcoin. Also trying to fight back. So again, we've hit that 109 pretty much perfectly that we were talking about since probably July 22nd. Took us a month to finally come back, actually give us a good retest. We're still in a little bit of a downtrend on this one. We have a little bit of resistance ahead of us, but if we could start clearing, I think the last big volume candle is let's get above 113.611. I'd already, as long as we close up here, I think it's a win for the bulls already, just getting above the VPOC of the day, 111.687. And we are starting to clear out some of the other VPOCs. The big level for me on this one for right now would be 113.669, and then if we can break that, that should take us to 114.776. Huge level on this one would be if we get past 115.709 for Bitcoin. All right, let's go to it. NVIDIA, historic drop last night. Incredible. Everybody was focused on NVIDIA, and it dropped down to price. We have not seen prices like that since Tuesday. So yeah, it was. I hope I hope everybody held in there. The real winners, anybody selling calls, anybody selling puts, those are all going to cash out probably pretty decently today, at least at open, and it doesn't look like we want to go anywhere else. They did come in with a beat, so they had a beat on earnings, 0.12%. They came in with an extra 694 million above expected revenue. The estimate was supposed to be 4605. They came in at 46.74 billion for the quarter. Outstanding earnings. So why is this thing not jumping up like crazy? Mainly because we're sitting at all-time highs, so the that we've already ramped it up into the earnings. That makes it a little tougher. Issues with the report that I think investors really were looking a little concerned with. That was data centers. I think was a huge one. Everything else that they do, gaming, they're all expected to do well and not really shake things up. Those all came pretty much essentially with beats, so they were kind of carrying things. The data center is huge. The data center did come in slightly underperforming, and reason being, according to them, is HVAC. They cannot build these data centers as quick as the demand. That's kind of a good problem, and I think in a long-term strategy, that's if you're a bull on NVIDIA, those will be eventually built, and it's going to take some time, but they're still saying there's demand, and they just can't even handle the demand, which is not usually a bad problem. Issue number two was the higher version of their chip. All of their numbers they could not sell to China, and that is going to hurt the company. But if there's only somebody out there, somebody in a presidential role who could probably fix that issue very quickly by saying a few words, that would probably straighten Nvidia out. 8:30 this morning, Trump is saying that he is already working with Nvidia, where Nvidia put it out that they're working with Trump to get those approved to sell those to China. So crisis averted again for Nvidia. That didn't take too much time at all. And then Trump is, I believe they're saying that some of those sales or the sales of those chips specifically will go back into the U.S. somehow making a structured deal with the U.S. on those chips to include the U.S. on gaining some of that profit as well. So we'll see how that deal turns out, but that's going to pop Nvidia right back to where it is at, and we're just sitting inside day. For today's levels, I'd like to see us get above. Right now, all we really did pre-market is get into that 181.70. That is a big resistance for today. Not loving where we're opening on Nvidia, so it was 181.09. That is going to be a next kind of resistance, and then look for support right around 180.12. So we could be just boxed into the zone for a little bit. If we start breaking that 180.12, which is doable, we've been through that now. Yesterday we broke through it. Last night we were getting down to I think 171, something like that. Other than that, the next level of support for today 178.18. So not a crazy reaction. Again, if you sold puts, if you sold calls, you're probably cashing on those. Anybody that was the buyer of those puts or those calls thinking we have some kind of crazy reaction and kind of taking following Jim Cramer into this report. Jim Cramer was freaking out going into it, but we've done nothing. So that's what we're sitting for Nvidia. And again, if Nvidia starts to drop, the market, even the GDP did nothing for the market. GDP, we got a small little pop. As soon as the Nvidia chip news came out, the market started taking off a little bit. So watch Nvidia. In fact, maybe we just replace SPY in my lower left corner with just Nvidia all day. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think that's the one you're going to want to watch, and that will kind of control probably the sentiment going forward. But let's be a little patient, probably at open. Cindy says end of day ES futures went nuts at the very end of the day yesterday. Yep, things were going crazy. And then right before the report came out, Nvidia just started running, and I was like, I don't see any report yet. I'm not sure why we're moving. Crowdweave opening into a little resistance. That is a nice gap. It is a little bit of a retest. Opening into that resistance, I think I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback. That should come into 96.93. Maybe get down into like this $113 if you are trying to go bullish on this one. I don't think I want to see that full on retest. So that 96.89 zone, I don't think I want to see that one at least get retested for today. That should be a good gap, but we are running into a little resistance. So let's see if we can get at open a little pullback. Watch for that $100 zone, $100.13. that could be a decent location to buy. I'm not gonna just be grabbing shares there, but if you got some kind of consolidation, some kind of decent candle at that level, that might be decent to continue to watch for today as well. CCL Carnival Cruise. They are they are the AI king of the ocean, I think is their slogan. Carnival Cruise, also nice little gap up. Any did they get upgraded? Carnival bets on private island strategy. Um, it didn't work out for a couple of people that I've seen have private islands. But okay, Carnival Cruise. They have a couple private islands actually already, but let's see if they're gaining some more. I think with Carnival Cruise, I don't know. I don't know if it was because all the cruise ships have their own private islands. That does seem like the strategy. But I think Carnival Cruise, if you get the drink pass, you can't use it on their own island, which is wild. You should be able to continue your services from the cruise on the island that they already own anyway. But either way, you have a good gap up. This is a retest gap. I'd see if you look for a fade on this one, 32.20. Let's see if there's anything else holding it back. No, I don't really have too much. No volume really going to come in unless we switch to a weekly. Let's do that. See if there's anything. There's really nothing holding this thing back. Uh, in terms of volume, there's really nothing at all until you get into like the 41 zone. So this could be decent. Maybe a position build on it. I'd like to see that thing come back, retest yesterday's VPOC before jumping in. And then maybe coming down a little bit further first, come into like this $29 zone, 29.60. But yeah, I didn't know Carnival had private islands yet. Disney does, Norwegian does. I believe Carnival does. Yeah, I believe they do. Small islands, I think. I think they've just been getting into them, but I think they do have a couple of them. We got Palantir PLTR. It does having their own private island does control some of the random expenses, some of the port fees. Obviously, if they're going to start charging for food and drinks when people already have them included, if you just stay on the boat, that's an extra revenue source for them. You got Palantir. Palantir did not. I tried Palantir yesterday and it just did not hold. Did not want to. I thought we could hold some of these levels. It was a fantastic gap up. I was thinking somewhere around this 160 should hold, somewhere around 160.20. Look for maybe come down, retest this candle that we're already kind of sitting inside, big volume, somewhere around 158.57. For right now, in a longer term picture, we're not quite there yet, but it does look to me. We have a couple levels we got to break down first, but this looks like there's your breakdown. This is kind of your bounce back, and maybe something like this longer term. Not there yet. We gotta see a little bit more first, but that's what it's looking like to me. Otherwise, you're approaching you got your 50 EMA again. Not a fantastic spot we're opening in. It is a gap and go for today, but it is right inside of that or right at that resistance, 157.53. So watch that resistance. If we start to break that, you got one more ahead of you, 157.76. If that starts to break, you get a lot of room back to 160.20, and all of this then potentially looks like some kind of nice bullish break, big massive retest. Maybe about a 50% retrace. Hold on, I think you're still a little high. Yeah, from the low of this, you're not at 50%. But the next big level I'm watching for is 153.34. So I think you got room on both sides. You have a little bit more resistance kind of built up above you. If we could start breaking that resistance, I'd be good. Otherwise, I'd be leaning to the short side on Palantir. We got Hood. Robin Hood opening right at yesterday's VPOC. So flip a coin slightly underneath it though for now. So maybe that's a little bit more bearish. We also do have a pretty weak close. So I would have liked where we're opening now. I would have liked that to be the close. Give us hold a little bit of support. We've already shown that we cannot. So we're trapping some bears. Anything under this 104.54 gives me a little bit of, at least we're trapping somebody. Target on this one would take us to 106.56. But if we start breaking down this level again, 104.50, the next level, which we've been to, we also broke this down, closed below at 103.11. And then we got probably like 101.88 would be your next pretty big target, all the way down to maybe like $100.26. So not a fantastic close yesterday. The Bulls are desperately trying to hold this thing together. It's an right now you're getting back above that VWAP, so it depends on when you look at it. Right now, I'd have to go a little bit slight bullish edge, but we'll see what this one wants to open, how this thing wants to hold at open. Um, I'd be okay with this level at a for a high wave candle. If we get some kind of indecision here, that would make some sense, and then you could probably play either side of that high wave candle if it shows up. TGT. TGT Tarjay trying to bounce like they were Cracker Barrel. Uh, okay. It's an S curve. Do you have an S curve? You really wanted to get back above this 97.30. We achieved that yesterday. Your next resistance somewhere around this 97.73. We achieved that one yesterday too. It is a retest gap for today. I think targets to the bull side is about $99.15. You got a couple psychological levels that maybe you stutter at first, and first one will be like 98.49. But if this one wants to pull back to this 97.90 target might be in play. You got a couple dollars to the higher side on that one. In a longer term picture, you at least have an S curve. If you get some kind of a meaningful pullback, probably a little deeper into this 97.76. For a swing, maybe you could go right underneath that S curve, 95.81. If you start breaking that down, you're breaking all of the recent VPOCs. And I wouldn't want to wait till the next support 94.35 is the next spot to try. On the way up, there's definitely this gap fill, which will take you to 105.42. Gonna have a whole bunch of moving averages to maybe hold you back from that, but I think that's where most people probably targeting. I think I'd be looking for like a 103.05 in a longer term sense. So we'll see what happens on target. But yeah, starting. We got MU and AMD. MU. I was watching that one for most of the day yesterday. Did take a little play on it, but pretty fair gap up for today. You're above all the recent. You have this Shop City. All of those VPOCs are taken out at open. Also getting above this candle from August 8th. See if you get a small pullback on this one again. 118.88. Anything below it, let this thing just drop to at least 118.07, and potentially at that point you're looking for full retest of yesterday's VPOC 117.89. But really good open, not really much holding you back to about 120.89, so it gives you about $1.88 to the higher side. If it does anything crazy, gets past it, next target past that point takes you to about 122.20. I still got to sell on all these time frames. Maybe some of that shifts today at open, but yeah, pretty good gap. Again, it is a retest gap of yesterday. All of that's been inside of this one hammer, and we are starting to take that out. So, not a bad not bad motivation for some of those bulls to want to start to look at MU again. We got AMD. We've sat in this one all day just to make a little bit of cash, a little bit of Johnny Cash. We walked the line. Uh, I like us above this 166. Even after hours, I was before I was looking at 163. I have some shares from before that I was picking up. I think it was like 163.50, something like that. So I'm positive on those. Um, it's starting to look good. I like the fact that we're above this candle from 2 days ago, from Tuesday. Again, it is a retest gap. We'll see if we get a little profit taking at open here first, especially now that NVIDIA's earnings are out. Target for me, that would take me to this 171.41 is our first spot. Anything crazy after that, I think you're looking for 174.06. There could be some resistance there, but the fact that you're now taking out this entire candle, I would safely say that your next target on this one takes you to about 175.94. So all in all, not bad. I got to move this one pretty high on the list. Again, I think giving the market a couple minutes to decipher what it wants to do, if we want to if we want to enact the retest rule a little bit harder than maybe we should when we get some kind of pullbacks, and 167.56 would be your buy spot. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Darian, what's up, Darian? How's Florida life for you? All right, let's go through a couple others. Tesla, take some of these off. If you guys got other tickers, let me know. Otherwise, we got 8 minutes left and we're done with suggestions. All right. Tessie, not a fantastic open for today, just kind of sitting inside the A candle. Also sitting there with an open underneath yesterday's VPOC. Psychological level would be the low of the day, 349.62. Still making those higher lows in a longer term sense, higher highs. Um, I probably wouldn't do anything on Tessie at open. I'd be looking for 351. I think I'd still have to lean bullish in a longer term sense, just because you are making those higher lows, higher highs. At this point, though, I'd see if you get a retest into like 347.23. That should be a built-in, really nice support for Tesla if it comes down lower. That's going to give you about $3.30 to the downside with that resistance. I could make a case for the bears on Tesla. I don't know if I want to short this one, but if it does come down to 347.23, I'd be interested. Or if we start getting candles closing above 351.44, at JD.com. That's not good. It's not even off of earnings. Chinese food delivery company Meituan profit slides as competition intensifies. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to. I don't know the correlation to JD on that one. China tech giant JD.com unit. Two other firms plan $1 billion Singapore REITs. yeah, I don't know what any of that means, but I'd be looking at a few things on this one. Horrible gap. Unless they buy this completely up. We've had some selling, so maybe some shorts on this game on this move. Feeling like they should lock some gains, but other than that, zero volume to go lower. You start really only coming into some safety net at 28.84, not huge volume. Next one I see is 27.90. The next one I see is 27.50. Bigger one, 26.06. So we'll see if JD could bounce into that zone in a longer term sense. If you like JD, that's probably where I'd be patiently waiting. Again, you're probably not today, but yeah, not a great gap. I think they have more room to the downside since there is some selling into this one. So maybe at open we get some green candles and pick and choose which one you want to go short on. If you do a full retest, coming in to short this one at $30.80 would be your best location. But we'll see how this one wants to open. Not a great spot. I also would not be shocked if this thing opens and just continues to drop. It looks like they have some short pressure on this one. If I was in this one short, I'd be expecting a little bit of a bounce, but it wouldn't cause me to freak out and sell and take my gains. I'd already have decent profit built in. MTSR. Another retest gap. Also, a little bit of resistance that we're opening into 36.69. And then a big one is 37.06. That is a lot of buying that did come in yesterday. I think with this gap up, there's a lot of people profitable. I think most likely for a small term time frame, this is probably a fade for today. I think this one probably comes back to this 34.93. In a longer term sense, you are putting in higher lows. I think that is a spot where, on a swing trade basis, there might be some buyers setting up to buy that one. So that looks decent. But I think it's a fade for today. You got Teva Pharmaceutical. Interesting. I don't know how much room we have on this one, but that is a gap and go from yesterday, although yesterday was more of a retest gap that just kind of closed at support. For today, I think your the more impressive move on this gap is anything above $18.47. So see if you get a small, tiny few cent pullback, 3 cents, and then I think that gets your room up to like 18.75. Maybe it has the momentum to break through that. I can't promise anything, but That is a gap and go taken out really yesterday. I don't think that was too much of the bears being taken out, but this candle is impressive. And the fact that most of that volume on this red candle is getting taken out, I think Tiva could run today. Question is to what extent, but looks good. We got A net. Darian says Florida is hot. I wouldn't have guessed, Darian. I would not. That is, I would have lost money on the bet. We got A net is not looking too good, but you do have one little support, 129.63. If that ends up breaking down, this is trapping some bulls for sure. Watch that one little support, 129.63. If the if anybody wants to take some gains, getting close to that, I think your next best spot to look for a short 131.68, but that looks weak. We've been down to the zone a few times. I think we could break it, and then you get a lot of room to the downside, somewhere around 124.74 for A net. So not looking too healthy. Tesla's climbing a little bit, getting closer or above that last resistance. That might set us up for a open and run. Roku, that also looks good, man. Everything that looks good is also a retest gap for the most part. Roku also buying their own private island. Incredible. Just what a strategy. Yeah, retest gap. You don't really have much holding you back to about $99. So there is room on this thing. I think there is a lot of buying into this gap as well. I think you're looking for maybe 96.22 is a better buy spot for Roku, but definitely has a lot of room built in if it wants to keep going. That is a nice gap. I wouldn't be buying it at open for me personally. If this thing wants to pull back a little bit, I'd be a little more interested on this one. Let's get this one higher on the list. All right, serve. I did sell some cover calls yesterday on serve, relatively close to the high of the move. Fantastic gap up, trapping a lot of bears in this thing. Again, we talked about this one. It just essentially looks like an extended handle on a cup and handle. So there's your cup, there's your handle. Got a little extended, and now you got a gap and go. I think this one continues to break. I did sell some cover calls at $17 for September 19th, I believe. I wasn't getting much. I think I was getting like 20 cents per contract. So not much, but my target is 1603. So if this thing does fly out of here, I'll make a little bit more on the actual share value. If it doesn't do it by the 19th, I'll still make some money and repeat the process, see where we're at. But this looks like it is starting to wake up a little bit. Again, not above yesterday's VPOC. That is somewhere around $11.88. Maybe some Chop City. We're also kind of opening at this point below 11.75. That would be my first sign if we get above it. Otherwise, looking for a deeper pullback into $11.39 for serve. But longer term picture, I like that candle a lot yesterday. We just gotta get some more momentum from it. Other than that, that is the morning bell. So, everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. Other than that, you guys are incredible. I'll catch you.